Hey everyone, so today's video, we are doing something that was backed by popular demand. And by popular demand, I mean one person told me to do it in the last live, so here we are. I adore faceting. I do it on a weekly basis. It's been a long time since my last faceting video, and the funny thing about that is we've come a long way in that time. I was looking back at it, and yeah, I think our last dedicated fasting video, I have literally like hundreds of hours of practice in since then, so it's probably overdue to do another fasting video. We did some faceting like a year ago when I made the engagement ring, but that was different. I feel like it wasn't like a full-on faceting video, so here we are. Yeah, when I'm waiting for my saw to drop, when I'm cutting rocks, usually I'm faceting. I fast it pretty much daily, if not daily, weekly, but I don't ever really record it. I don't know why, but I never really do. So yeah, I think we're long overdue to do a little bit of faceting in a video. So let's get started on faceting. First things first, we need to look at our stones, which I'm thinking I want to do this, which is an Oregon Sunstone. It's a light color, so it'll probably be more clear. Don't know what pattern I want to do yet. I also want to do this right here, which is a, I believe, Brazilian. Can't remember if it's African or Brazilian. I'm pretty sure it's Brazilian. Natural citrine. And I faceted these before, and they are phenomenal. They're so freaking pretty. And then for our other stone, this is where we're getting a little weird, because there's something I really love faceting, and every time you tell people, they're like, wait, what? Why? That's Ethiopian opals are so freaking nice when you facet them. They're just beautiful. Beautimous, you might say. I don't know why you would, but you could. Yeah, no, they're amazing. The trick is getting them clear enough. If you've got one that is nice and clear, you'd think that all of the different faces would affect the color. But what ends up happening is when you have a really nice clear one and you put in a ton of facets, it actually reflects all of the color play. So you end up with a very loud, very pretty stone. Here, one sec. The result is a stone that looks a little something like this. You know what? I have tweezers. Why am I not using them? They're just beautiful. They're so freaking pretty. Problem being, getting pieces that are nice and don't have any inclusions and stuff like that. They're so pretty. I just love it. I love it so much. But yeah, that's the plan. We've got Citrine, Sunstone, and then I don't know which one I want to go with, but I picked out 4 nice faceting size Welos. So now that we've picked our stones, we can start, except we can't. We can't start today because A, these need to be processed to a point where I am actually comfortable starting on them, and then they need to get glued to dops. Alrighty, our stones are ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is take this, which is cyanoacrylate. It is very, very strong and basically instantly cures. So put a little drop on my dop, and I'm gonna take my stone and bloop it on there. You have to use correct terminology, so yes, saying bloop is a requirement. And it's ready for epoxy. So the CA is strong, but not enough. So now I'm gonna take this and mix some of this up and add it to the dops and the stones, which I feel like is self-explanatory. Okay, so these are all ready to go. They're set up. They're gelled but not cured. This stuff actually sets in 5 minutes, but it takes like, I think it's like 18 hours to hard cure. Once it does, it is insanely hard. I'm gonna give it overnight, and when we come back tomorrow, we can start faceting. Okay, everything is cured and ready to go. We can begin. I've decided what patterns I wanna do. So those of you that know me know that I have a clear favorite when it comes to faceting, and that is this cut right here. This is a Portuguese Round covered in fingerprints now, but this is a Portuguese Round. It is my everything cut. I use it quite literally. When I say everything cut, I mean everything. I've done amethyst port rounds, I've done moldavite port rounds. The stone that went into Alexis's engagement ring is a Portuguese Round. I just love it. I am yet to find a stone it doesn't look amazing on, but it really, really, really makes the opal color go crazy. You know, I can't do a fasting video and not do a port round. Like, it's my favorite. I have to do it. On the citrine, because it's such a lovely gold color, we are going to do a honeycomb. Don't know which of the two I'm leaning toward at the moment, but it will either be this pattern right here, which I love. It's so pretty. Got a bunch of points on the bottom and then the hexes on the top, which turns into kind of a flower pattern when you look at it from the top. This is a smoky quartz. As for the Sunstone, I have not made up my mind yet. We'll do the other two, and then by the time we get to this, maybe I'll know what I want to do. So we've got Port Round, we've got Honeycomb, and we've got and I think just because they're my favorite and I love doing them, we're gonna start with the opal. If that one's a dud, we will do this one, which is gonna be nuts. It's so nice. So first things first is we need to go around and make this circle. We have our girdle cut. We have, where are you? There you are. A circle, a circle. While we are still on our 360 grid, is I'm gonna come and do the first pavilion facet. Sorry, I didn't realize it was a frame. Which is just the first angle. I do the girdle and the first pavilion facets at 360. Then we immediately move to 600, where I will do what we just did a second time. That's refining our shape, and then I'll jump straight to 3000 grid for everything else, because the facets on these are small enough that it's fine. Also, it is not super important to make sure that your cuts are nice and aligned at this step, because this thing is going to be getting reshaped heavily. We just want to establish a curve right now. There, and now we have a uniform shape and our first girdle facets. The reason I do this at 360 is because this is the heaviest lifting. There is a decent amount of material that needs to get moved to get a uniform shape on the girdle, and that first pavilion facet is when you're removing probably the most material. So I do that on 360, then I move to higher grid for literally everything else. So now we are to this point, we are going to grab our 600 grit plate and do what we just did, but again, and also. And now it looks like this. We've got a nicely leveled girdle up to 600. All of our heavy lifting and basic refining are done. So now we are going to swap to the 3000 grit plate and do all of our final good stuffs. Here we are now that we've reached our final shaping grid. Good, perfect circle, nice height on our girdle, and nice level girdle. Already got a ton of shine coming up, and that saves so much freaking time just jumping straight to 3000. It's so handy. So now we can actually start finishing the pavilion. Now that we're doing our first, well, I guess second pavilion facets, we'll see we bring this point down to the girdle, and then we'll just do that all the way around. So now the result is we have a ring of triangles sitting on top of the girdle. This is such a deceiving cut. It looks really complicated. It's not. It's so simple. So now what we're gonna do is lower it slightly and then just do the exact same thing we did on the first pavilion facets. It is literally every line with a number, then you lower it and swap to every line without a number. Then you lower it, swap to every line with a number, and rinse and repeat. And that is a Portuguese round, and I love them. And after the second pass, you're gonna have what looks something like this. If I can get this to behave. It's really inconvenient that it turned white because it's really not it's behaving right now. So yeah, you get your triangles, then diamonds, then another point. And we're gonna do one more set of those and it's done. And now that all of our facets are in there, it'll look a little something like this. Triangle, diamond, diamond, triangle. Of course it's white, so it's not showing very well, but yeah, and it's gonna look amazing. It looks nothing right now, but I promise once it's done hydrophaning, it's gonna be absolutely beautiful. Oh, there you go, you can kind of see it better. Triangle, diamond, diamond, triangle. Alrighty, and it is done and ready to get transferred and taken off and all the other stuff that happens. So I'm gonna pull that up and we're gonna get started on this one right here. First things first, we need to cut our girdle. And it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing that we just did. And now we have it to here. Beautiful pavilion. it's basically the same thing. It's just less faces. I think the last one is 16 and this one is 8 if I remember correctly. So it's the same thing. It's just a different ratio. Love it, I love it. It is ready for polish. Alrighty, and that one is ready to move on as well. And I'm sorry if I sound weird. This is actually a week later, and I just got over a terrible, terrible cold. So I'm sorry. I'm still not 100% at all. Alrighty, we've got our opal transferred over, so we can get started on faceting the crown. And the beauty of the port round is the pavilion and the crown are the same thing. So we just do what we already did a second time. Alrighty, so for these opals, less time scratched up is very important. So we did our first cuts just to get the angle in at 360, and then I jumped straight up to 3000 because it's soft enough and the face shaping is small enough that we can get away with it, but also we just want to close that grain off as fast as possible because crazing will happen when water is trying to leave too fast. So faster we polish it, the less likely it is to happen. Alright, and it's done and ready to pull off. This is a deceptively simple pattern. Let me show you what I mean. When you look at that pattern, it is easy to be like, wow, that's a lot. There's a lot going on there. Really, there's actually not. It is super, super, super simple. You are just doing one set, rotate, next set, and it's not, there's no like weird angles to figure out. You're just alternating. It's the same thing alternating. And the crown and pavilion are the same thing. So it looks like a lot. It really is not. And it is done. We just have to wait for it to finish hydrofating and we will see what we have. As you can see, it's got a little cloudy pocket. So yeah, we're just gonna set this out, let it dry, and then we will figure out what our end result is actually gonna look like. And you know what? I was gonna save this one to cap, but you know what? I think I want to facet it. I have this pattern right here, which I tested first, which is actually designed specifically for opals. So I'm thinking that might be really, really cool. While we wait for those other ones to cure, we can get started on whatever the heck we're going to do with this Sunstone, which I genuinely don't know what I want to do with this thing. Sorry, the saw is running. It's squeaking real bad. That's the belt. I need to tighten it. I'm sorry. That sounded awful. I promise I won't record again until it's done. Where am I? There we go. Alright, so I've figured out a pattern that I want to do for this. I found it in my stash and it is really, really, really cool. So, let's see what we can turn this thing into. Alright, pavilion is cut. Sorry I didn't record more of that one. That was a really weird pavilion and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't messing anything up. It's so different. I love it. Okay, so now we can put on our acrylic plate, polish it, and it's ready to swap over as well. Alrighty, that one is done. I'm gonna get it transferred over and go home. I'm not doing nearly as good as I thought I was. Okay, I am back. I feel better, but I don't sound better. Glues have all set. They are ready to go. This one needs to get done from the ground up. These two are ready for crowns, and then they are finished. So, I think first, let us do this one, which is the Honeycomb. And I'm very excited about this one, because they always look so good. Alright, we just came in on 360 just to do that heavy lifting, and now I am actually going to jump to 3000. And here's that stone with the exact same angles now that it is at 3000. And it is looking real good. So we are starting to add in our honeycomb pattern. And
And to do that, we are going to start adding down points. You can see we want that point to touch the girdle, and we're going to do that all the way around. Build a base so that when we start coming in at different angles, those are going to start turning into pentagons and octagons, and it is really, really cool. And it's going to turn into something that looks a little bit like that. Now we're going to change our angle and come in on that middle face so we can add more. And then when we come in at a taller angle, it's going to turn those diamonds into hexagons. I think I said octagons last time, and that was wrong. And now we're bringing this new point down to the girdle as well. You can see how that's changing the facets we just did. Much more squared shape than the diamonds that we just did. And that will look like this. Now that we've gone all the way around, you can see those are some big ol' hexes. So now when we come in on the next angle, we're going to be turning these diamonds into pentagons and shortening these other facets that we just did, and that will look like this. As you can see, our hexacomb is what I just said. Our honeycomb grid is pretty much done. So now, when we come in and cut our table, we're just going to get a perfect little hexagon right on the top, and that will complete our honeycomb. It is really that easy, just like that. And now our honeycomb is done. So now we are going to swap over to our acrylic plate and polish it, and she is completely done. Alrighty, that one is done. It is just soaking in acetone to kind of loosen the glue up, and I will show it shortly. So instead of doing this one next, which is almost done, we just need to do the crown and it's finished, I'm going to get started on this one because I don't know how long I want to work today, and this one needs to be transferred before I leave. Alright, well first off, I forgot how fast that cuts, but secondly, oh my gosh, I am so happy we decided to facet that one. That thing is gonna be insane. It's cloudy right now because it's hydrophaning. Oh, that looks so good. Holy crap. Alright, well, it's done already, so we are good to transfer it over, and we can finish it tomorrow. We got that one in acetone as well, getting ready to transfer over. So let's finish up the crown on this one. Alrighty, well, it is ready to take off, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what this is going to look like. This is a new pattern, and I am in love. It's so cool. Alright, well, I'm going to go soak this in some acetone, and I'll be back. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to get that epoxy going on the opal. So I will see you tomorrow where we can finish that opal and get a good look at all of our stones. We are back next day. Glue is cured, so we can finish this up. From here, it's basically just a standard emerald cut, so it should go really, really quick. Alrighty, and it is done. So I'm going to pull this off, let it soak in some acetone, let it finish hydrophaning, and we will get a good close-up on all of our stones. And here is the first opal that we faceted. This one did not have quite the same color play that the other ones did, but it had such nice clarity, so that's a really nice one. As far as clears go, a little bit of color play, some blues flickering in there, but man, I just love this cut. Portuguese rounds are my favorite, and I love them. But that is just such a clear opal. I actually like the little itty bitty touches of color in there, as opposed to the insane color. Here is the Sunstone. And I gotta say, I'm kind of in love with this pattern. That is just, it hits all the right notes with that Sunstone. So reflective and flashy. It's really different too. Also, it's just weird seeing a square table. This Sunstone had some inclusions, so that's what you're seeing there. Streaky stuff inside of it, but hey, I am still quite happy with that. I have a few others, well, I have quite a few others sitting around that are perfect clarity, and I definitely am going to be doing this pattern again because that is just crazy. Real nice. That came out so good. Absolutely love it. And here is the honeycomb, now that I have fingerprints all over it, and I absolutely adore this cut. It's called a honeycomb, which it is. If you look at the crown, there's all these like little hexes, but when it overlaps with that diamond shaped pavilion, you wind up with this crazy flower pattern. Isn't this just gorgeous, by the way? But that honey color is just absolutely perfect for those honeycombs. But I just love that pattern so much. This is one of my favorites, and it just works so well with quartzes. This one is probably my favorite, and I'm really happy we decided to do another opal because it is just phenomenal. The color play is just wild in this one. Opals are very hard to film. So what I am seeing is like 3 times as much as what's showing up on camera. I'm trying to get it to behave a little more. There's just so much good color play in there. Oh, I just love it. I just love it. Look at that red. Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, this is a cool one. It's like a typical pavilion on the bottom, but then an emerald top, and the overlapping layers it just looks so cool. I love opals so much, and I really, really, really love faceting opals. They just take on such a unique quality. Look at that. It's like Northern Lights. That is amazing. Oh, and I dropped it. Alrighty, well, there you go. And I'm very happy with how all of them came out, even though they're slightly out of focus. I forget every time until I actually start filming them, but they are so difficult to do. By which I mean making faceting videos is so difficult because it's kind of just monotonous and the same thing over and over and over again. So the footage is kind of just all the same. So I don't know what to film and what not to film, but yeah, I don't know. I love doing it. I do it a lot. So I don't know why at this point, I think I've made like maybe a total of 3 faceting videos when it's something that I do on a weekly basis. And I feel like we've gotten a lot better. Like compared to our first ones. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of improvement. So if you guys want more opals, let me know, because I have a lot more opals. And if you want more faceting, let me know, because I do it enough anyway. I could just might as well start filming it whenever I do it. Alrighty guys, that is gonna do it for this one. Let me know which one was your favorite. I am leaning toward the opal. The honeycomb is, probably tied between those two. I don't know when I'm posting this video. When it comes out, I will either be getting ready to go, or we will already be overseas. I teased this a couple times in previous videos. If you guys watch the live streams, you know what I'm talking about already, but I haven't actually talked about it in a video yet. So yeah, we're going to New Zealand and Australia, and I'm very excited. We will be spending 2 weeks in New Zealand and a week in Australia with Ricky. I am thrilled and nervous in equal parts because I've never left the country before, nor obviously flown over an ocean, but it's gonna be incredible. I'm so excited. Been like a lifelong dream to go to those 2 places, so yeah, it's gonna be insane. So I will be taking videos constantly the whole time we're there. We're gonna be getting out on a good amount of hunts, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for those. I'm still getting over my sickness, so if I seem less enthusiastic than I should be about what I'm currently talking about, that is why. I'm much more excited than my throat will allow me to be at the moment. But yeah guys, I think that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you next time.